Hey Alt Divas! Before I start this video, let me say some disclaimers. 1. This isn't a video against anyone that I worked with in the cast. It's to find closure on my experience for theater and to help give a new perspective of what it's like to be in theater. If you're someone that's in theater or interested in joining theater, this isn't against you either. I'm happy that you enjoyed it and had a great time. If you want to audition, please do not let this video deter you from that wish. If you want to audition, do it. So, when it came to the performing arts, I was only interested in joining stage techs, as it would help with my artistic skills and I'd feel like I was a part of something while not being on the big, daunting stage. And that was my thinking for the 2 years that I was in stage techs, and I enjoyed it. I painted set pieces, was able to talk to some interesting people that I still sometimes talk to this day, and during Tech Week, I'd be able to watch the actors perform their hard work before tickets came out to the public. It was like having a private show all for myself backstage, seeing all the magical effects and the emotion all the talented actors had. So, my second semester of my junior year, I decided to audition for the spring musical called I am still enrolled in the school that I did the musical for, and to not have my name thrown around, I will not disclose the musical my school did. You know, to minimize any suspicions if anyone from my school, more so the cast, happens to come across this video. And from my beginning spiel about only wanting to do stage techs, it may seem counterintuitive that I wanted to join theater, but since sophomore year, I've been interested in joining theater. I'd done a theater camp my freshman year that I really enjoyed. Every time I saw the actors perform on stage, I'd always imagine myself playing these quirky characters, expressing my colors on stage, and I love stage techs, and also, my friends were planning on auditioning. These friends were also seniors, meaning that it'd be their last production before they graduated. So at the time, I thought to myself, this is perfect. I finally had the opportunity to audition for a musical, and I'd be able to get some memories from my friends before they leave for college. The stars couldn't align any better. Oh, how stupid I was back then. So I put my name confidently on the sign-up paper and waited 2 months until the auditions. I had 2 auditions, dancing and singing. I did okay on the dancing audition, and as for the singing, I'm not gonna talk about it. Anyways, a few days later, I got a callback email from my teacher saying I got a part in the musical, and I was ecstatic. Like, I was in math class during this time, and I had to cover my mouth so I didn't scream. And so, I started my first rehearsals in the middle of January. Since I was a small role, I didn't have much to do, and I mostly just drew on my iPad. Though rehearsals went okay that month, I had a terrible gut feeling that whole time in my stomach. Especially when my friends were slowly starting to avoid me, and my parents called everyone in my family when they found out I was in the musical. But did I talk about it with anyone, or did I address this to a friend? No, that's what a smart person would do. I ignored this gut feeling and told myself that it was just the nerves of starting out and the feeling will pass within the month. And then the next month, I did not have any rehearsals at all, and I low-key thought that the cast forgot about me. That's how long I went without going through rehearsals. So, at the beginning of March, I was relieved to find out that the cast didn't forget about me, and I was back to rehearsing. Though that gut feeling didn't go away, and it actually got worse. Now, before I get into this, I'm getting into some topics that may be triggering to some. So, if you find any of these triggering, I'd recommend you skip to this timestamp I'm about to show. Not only was I at school for 10 to 12 hours, the final quarter was kicking my ass with lots of homework, and I was starting to realize how isolated I was at rehearsals. No matter how hard I tried to connect with the cast and feel included, I was always shot down, or it would just lead to absolutely nowhere, even when we weren't busting our bodies off through some tiresome choreo or strong singing. Though, the thing that hurt the most was when I started to realize that my friends in the musical were avoiding me. While everyone was at rehearsals, smiling and laughing with the people I called my friends, I was all by myself, alone with my thoughts, just waiting for my director to tell me I can leave so I could go home. It wasn't like I didn't try to talk to them, nor did I let it happen. I tried my hardest to reach out, hang out with them after school, talk to them even during lunch. But they kept isolating themselves from me, like I had cursed their bloodline even though we were friends since I was first enrolled in that school. That and a lot of other things that I did not mention were the final straws that broke me. I barely slept that month, and my heart would race at the very thought of being at rehearsal. I'd cry almost every day that month, especially when my intrusive thoughts became intense. But the worst things I'd done to myself was 1, not telling my parents anything that was going on, and developing a very unhealthy eating pattern. During lunch, I'd only eat a single fruit cup or a chicken tender if my body can even stomach that. Sometimes I'd skip lunch and hell, even breakfast as well if my anxiety just made it unable for me to eat most of the day. I do not think that one meal a day was sustaining at all. It was mostly like a bowl of rice and some veggies. That was it. Like, I barely ate that month. And every time I looked in the mirror, I'd tremble and I can barely look at myself normally without visualizing scars on my body. So much so, I couldn't even stand to look at my own reflection in the mirror, even to this day. This genuinely made me question if being in theater was worth it for my physical and my mental health. Every time when I passed the theater room that month, I clutched my hand onto my chest, wondering if I should tell the directors that I quit, and I cannot take the pressure of pretending to act okay with my battling thoughts and my closest friends ghosting me. And while I never did quit, I always wonder if me quitting would have been beneficial or harmful to me. To this day, I still don't have a definitive answer to that. Fortunately, April was a lot more lighthearted. Except for my friendship issues, everything became normal again. Started eating normally again, I could handle being at school for long hours without letting my intrusive thoughts take over, and I was able to sleep without interruptions. So it wouldn't be theater if things were all smooth sailing, because the people that I needed to block stuff with were never there. You see, I was put on a small ensemble group with 2 other guys, and since a lot of our scenes were us as a group, I needed them for blocking. I am not even joking. From March to Tech Week, they have missed 16 of the 24 rehearsals we were assigned. It was such a common occurrence of them not being there that the directors would just block the scene with just me in it, or they would have to record the scene for the 2 to review at home, or I'd have to teach the scene as quick as possible before we ran through it. And that shit is so stressful, as most of the time I had to run through their lines and wasn't even allowed to use the scripts on lines that weren't even mine. So while I was focusing on not screwing up the choreo or my lines, 70% of the time I had to remember lines that weren't even mine. And I get it, people miss rehearsals all the time, but not when they're missing rehearsals so much to the point that the directors even wonder if they're in the musical in the first place. Thankfully, besides that in Tech Week, April was probably my best month for theater. I met the young cast of the production, who might I add were the most adorable people I ever met. I also started to somewhat enjoy rehearsals at times, laughing at some of the funny dialogue, finding myself singing along with the castmates sometimes, and people complimenting me on my drawings or what I was wearing. While it still felt like there was an invisible wall between me and the other castmates, I'm glad I still had good times, even when it seemed impossible. And then, it was leading up to our 3 show times, my not-so-big acting debut. On the first show, I made a lot of mistakes, though most of them I didn't even notice, or I just laughed it off. But when I went center stage by myself, I held up a sign that I was supposed to hold to symbolize the main couple getting married, upside down and backwards in front of an audience of 500 people. When I found out, my heart stopped, and I felt my eyes water for the rest of the musical. Thankfully, there was around 5 minutes left of the musical, so I quickly got it over with, changed, and started crying in my car. It wasn't because I held up the sign wrong, it was the fact that I made such a noticeable mistake center stage when it felt like everyone around me was flawless. It made me question stuff like, is that why everyone had a lengthy part in the show except for me? Is that why most people didn't view me as a full cast member? Did I even deserve to be here? I know I shouldn't have thought that, but tell that to the person who let out all their struggles, stress, sadness, and probably a lot more emotions that I can't name in the car, feeling like a complete failure. But with lows comes with highs, because the second night was probably my best night. Besides me developing a mild fever, it was mostly uneventful, and I made sure not to hold up the sign upside down, and everything went fine. Closing night, I had developed a nasty cold, and I couldn't project for the life of me. Fortunately, I didn't have a huge role, so I was able to rest a lot off stage. But even then, this day was painful, as my whole body was hot and cold, I was coughing crazy, and my legs felt like twigs. Plus, the whole cast and crew had to clean up the stage, dressing rooms, and classrooms before we could go home. And guess who couldn't leave early even though they were 2 seconds from passing out? Me. Mind you, I had to carry some pretty heavy stuff into the classroom, and I'm already a very physically weak person, so me being sick and physically weak, having to carry heavy stuff, yeah, that was not a good combo. But that wasn't the most painful part of the night. So my parents came to see the musical on the closing night, and they had no clue about my issues with my friends, so they went up and chatted with my friends in the theater lobby after the show. With them being clueless and persistent, they kept asking questions about my friends. After around the 15th question and them trying to get an answer out of me, I caved and started crying as I exposed my dying friendships with these people, bawling my eyes out harder than the opening night. I'm not going into detail of what my parents and I talked about, but it was a very heated discussion about lying and mental health that left me feeling drained and me feeling like the bad guy for keeping in all my issues I had for the past few months. And for some extra salt on the wound, I had to work on a 5-paragraph essay for English due the next day. As I went to my bedroom, I crashed my sick, weak body on the bed and I felt nothing. I didn't feel happy, accomplished, or even relieved. My mind was blank from the heated discussion I had, and especially seeing my classmates' social media post about the show and how happy they are, it made me feel even more isolated than before, even when I was really going through it at March. I cried so much these past few months I didn't even bother to shed a single tear. For the 2 actors missing rehearsal, feeling left out in the cast, school, and opening night, those instances felt like minor inconveniences now compared to that day. I lost my closest friends who not only did I make no lasting memories with, they also graduated, and I lost my passion for something I once genuinely enjoyed, and I couldn't even celebrate that accomplishment with happiness or laughter or hell, even just a good night's rest. While theater wasn't the best experience for me, like I had stated multiple times, it wasn't all doom and gloom, and I loved working with my directors for the musical. I know I made it sound like theater was the absolute worst experience of my life, and no, it wasn't. I loved working with every one of the directors that I worked with in the musical, and like I said, April was a pretty good month for me. Not only did I want to make this video to kind of just give a new perspective on theater, I also wanted to make a video about a crappy theater experience, because not only do I not really see much people talking about their theater experience, most of them skew more on the positive side. I have only really seen 2 that were somewhat negative. And now, I know that theater isn't for me, and I'll just stick to stage text and finding the resources to help me heal and grow into the person that I want to be. I know I've been gone for a while now, and yeah, school and theater has been a lot for me, but now that I'm on summer break, I have a lot of shorts and YouTube videos I'm excited to make. But for now, see you in the next one, Alt Divas!